So first of all, I could just touch upon within the discussion points where we go top on today. So the first one, within at the term, within it mean food safety and food hygiene. The other points where we go discuss now within at the foodborne sickness and within the cause the foodborne sickness, so the foodborne agents. Then we can talk about the effect of the poor food safety and hygiene practices and how then they affect on our health. The other thing we go talk back about is how we therefore practice good food safety and hygiene at the house. And also some general food safety advice where, some people then they mix up or they understand properly, we go touch upon them. So as always, presentation then I always bring this one quote, prevention is better than cure, because what thing we want to do with all this session then now for prevent the sickness, so we know they for find the cure. So if when they get the knowledge and they get the understanding for how to prevent the sickness, it go able for reduce the sicknesses where we suffer from. Okay, so within our food safety and food hygiene. So food safety, now the way we handle, the way we store, and the way we prepare we food them, in order for way we know they for catch sickness through the food and way we eat, which then they cause illness, so they cause sickness for everybody. But food safety also means that we therefore make sure that the nutrients where then are the food where we cook, they also know they go down, so they know they deplete. So they're able for get them because we they overcook we food them, or sometimes when they cook less as well, and then they have the problem as well with the cause of food safety. So it's really important that we understand what it mean and what we therefore do for prevent the sickness where they come with poor food safety and poor food hygiene. Okay. So within a foodborne sickness. So foodborne disease then normally then toxic by the nature where we live on, okay? And they're normally then very infectious. So sometimes when somebody's sick with this foodborne sickness, if they pass that along to other people, then when they know they carry out the right food hygiene where they need for stop for the spread of the infection, and then one of the ways. But also now the way with they process the food, the food system also and then they affect how the food become contaminated, and also the thing then where they come on top of the food where they also cause sickness by the food. So the other animal where they come for dump by the food they cause sickness as well. So the foodborne disease they're normally caused by this thing then so like bacteria, the virus then, chemical substances, parasites, where they then enter the body through the contaminated food and water where we don't eat or consume. So waiting at the foodborne agents then. So we could start with the bacteria. So bacteria, now one thing where they cause food poisoning, as we know one, and they contaminate food. And we get quite a few bacteria then where now the most common one then where they cause sickness by people then where then they eat this contaminated food. So the one then where now the big one are Salmonella, Campylobacter, E. coli, Listeria, and cholera. So Salmonella normally is done the animal in intestine, and sometimes even our own intestine we get on there. But normally, we know they cook the food them properly. So especially chicken, we get salmonella with tinapanam. If we not cook them well and you raw, and they eat them raw, and then they cause sickness in the body. So really important, mark with the cook with food, especially chicken and meat. We get even egg as well. So any animal byproducts, we get risk for get salmonella when they for cook them to a certain level, so the bacteria go kill, it go die panam. The other one, Campylobacter, and Campylobacter again, in the UK, one of the most popular one where they the chicken where with the buy in supermarkets. So then they again now one of the bacteria then where they cause sickness, but they also venom now water way they drink. And then they happen in Africa, so now in either fen and water way with the drink. The other one na E. coli. Now E. coli. Now, one way also the thing up, not normal, normally when I meat them or animal products where they eat, but fresh fruit them and vegetable as well. And then the thing up the E. coli, the thing up there, and it will bring sickness for our body. So then the other one of the things then we therefore look out when we consume food for wash them thoroughly before we eat them. But also, if you're in Africa, because sometimes the water now contaminates with E. coli, it's really advisable say when they boil the water before when they wash any vegetable or fruit them, so it will kill all the bacteria where they panam, especially if not E. coli they by the water, and so you can minimize that risk there for eat the food where contaminate. The other one na listeria. So listeria na more pa in the Europe, we say na more pa raw unpasteurized milk. So now yeah, we normally know they consume raw milk. So milk when no pasteurized means say pasteurized na the process where they go pa where they kill the bacteria when they use high heat for kill the bacteria. So before the milk they go in a supermarket, if they go through that process where then they kill all the bacteria, when they use pasteurization, so a machine that then they use, where they use high heat, high level of heat, where they kill all the bacteria before then they put in the supermarket. But then get some trend in America where beaucoup people then for health reason them, and then the things say then it's good for drink raw milk because then say sometimes the protein or the content not the deplete panam when they go through that process of heat. So then they consume that milk there, but because when I not kill the bacteria, they risk they risk that chance of drink milk where contaminates with this bacteria, this listeria, because the bacteria they're not killing yet. Even in Africa, sometimes people then go drink milk where unpasteurized, where they not go through treatment, and then they go make them really ill. And even cheese then, beaucoup cheese then where then they use raw milk, it they cause this bacteria for contaminate the food, and especially belle woman dynamic then they tell them say not to for consume this cheese then where not go through pasteurization or where will most likely get this bacteria wetting up at the cheese or the milk or so on. The other one cholera. Cholera is really big na Africa, okay? So then they again, due to the sanitation, the poor sanitation where we get there. So when the water no treat it back, it infect the crop them within the use. So if they use the same water for harvest the crop, then of course the food where they come from, that ground there, that's all they way don't contaminate with the cholera. Then they infect people then, and then people themselves, when they wash their hand, when they handle the food or when they cook the food, then then go pass that cholera to mortal man where if they go eat the food where they don't cook, then touch the food, then cook and then eat and if they contaminate them. So most of the food them where are highly contaminated with cholera, especially in Africa, now rice, vegetable, millet, and also seafood. So then like you crab them, you prawns, and so on. The other one, where they cause sickness, so food sickness, foodborne sickness, now the virus then. So one of the most popular virus then where they cause sickness for people then when they eat the contaminated food. Now one way we know say it call an norovirus, and also hepatitis A. So these are two of the most common ones then. And for example, the norovirus and hepatitis A, normally they transmit through the feces, so human waste or animal waste, where again, sometimes they're gonna the soil, because of course, sometimes in Africa, the place where when they grow the thing, when I crop them, or where when they handle food, they're quite close to places where people then they pass, human waste, or the animal then they pass human waste. So then, if they contaminate the food that way. But then also poor hand hygiene. So again, when we know the was, or when we know the was we hand, because even abroad, in Europe, people then, know the was then hand before then they eat food, before then they handle food. Sometimes people then they forget, or, then, in a human nature where some people then know they follow this, advice where we they give them wash in our hand, wash in our hand. Now that COVID don't come, people then wash their hand more frequently, but it really also important, we wash we hand then before we eat and so on. But some people then, again, we know they do that, they tsunamic, they contaminate the food, and so people then where they eat the food, where when I don't cook, then they contaminate, then they catch the sickness through that way as well. So then the other one as well now, raw or undercooked seafood, again, now the environment where the seafood come from, now then again, if know they kill the bacteria, it will contaminate now. And again, as I don't say, if we get the soil where it don't grow the crop them, when they copy and it contaminates when I eat, and then again, it cause this sickness. Then one of the other one, parasites. So before I go into how the parasite they cause foodborne sickness, I did give the definition of parasite. So the definition of parasite now, animal or plant where they live on or inside another animal or plants of a different type, So either go feed panam, so they feed panam, they feed by the other, so you get the host and then you get the one where they feed by the host. So whether in a blood or whatever they get from it, they gain from them. So then when they contaminate food, for example, the most food then where they contaminate now the fish-borne parasite then. So fish gets parasites, so animal with the tinapanam, where could infect people then if they eat them. So then they only transmit them through the food where we they eat. So if they already inside the fish, you go eat them, you cook them, you don't say you did there, you don't contaminate the food, then you go eat them and you go become sick. The other one now tapeworm. So tapeworm, sometimes now through direct contact where you get with the animal then. So sometimes people then when they cook and they don't get sometimes where then they keep then chicken then or they keep then animal or sometimes you go, go pick something who say they, get on an animal, you get crop, then when they have it, sometimes I saw you they transmit them, you don't know. But then also the tapeworm, most times if they inside the animal way when they eat, and I don't know when they eat and like now the meat and so on, and then so they get the sickness because when I know be no say if they get tapeworm and panan and when I eat and even now the UK sometimes it come and say some meats then way when they eat go get tapeworm and I don't know. The other one, chemical then. So most of the chemical, some of them like the mycotoxins, then the effects, especially grain them. So then the way with the harvest as well, again, the way with the harvest, the food them, the crop them again. Sometimes because we not store them immediately or we not get plates some side way dry for store the grain them, then something like mold, so fungi, they grow up on the grain and then they again go give you sickness because it gets mold, not to something now we therefore eat mold, not to something, and it really hazardous for eat mold or food we get mold panam. But again, because the food we don't transport or the way when I store the food, then they get infected. And one of the most common food them where they get this mycotoxins, this mold where they grow panam, melon seeds, groundnut, and maize. And Africa gets one of these big problems then because we not get the correct system for transport food well enough so that the mold no go grow per the grain. So then one thing where of course sometimes not to we fault not to we they cause the issue in itself. The other one heavy metals. So sometimes beaucoup people don't really say, you know, some certain food, for example, like tuna, it gets high mercury. So if you become the session on belly woman, then the session where we do, now making the advice for belly woman, then not for eat mercury, because tuna, sorry, because it gets mercury, high in mercury. And then the most likely now, because of the pollution of the water, you know, the air and the soil. So the way people then, you know, then the big organization they get, you know, then factory them where the you know, basically handle this metal then, and then they go and contaminate the water, the air, and the soil, and so on. So mercury and lead, now one of the metal where they contaminate food. The other one, where you know, beaucoup people then now then they get some understanding for say it hazardous to be health. Now BPA now the material where with the use people then they use now the manufacturing process for make plastic products. So like you food packaging bottle, you food packaging even bowl then and so on. Then the plastic where the material where then they use they transfer now the packaging and they go from the packaging into the food and the drink way with the eat. Sometimes also now the way we the starting then. So for example, if you're in a hot country, you left the water under sun, that plastic again, it go get reaction with the water way on the drink or whatever drink way on the drink. So really advisable again to understand say that this plastic product then they contaminate the food, and research they don't do research by this plastic, and then they say it cause cancer per animal subject then. So they not do the research yet on human subjects or human people then. But if then they see the pattern there on animal where they don't test, then it most likely say it also affect human being then. Okay, so I go talk about the cycle of infection. So on a large scale, how, you know, the contamination happens sometimes, both in the UK and also in Africa. Now, this particular picture where I show here, this diagram where I bring now, it more relates to the system within Africa, because, you know, there's beaucoup things that we then take into, we therefore take into consideration where they affect food and how the food they contaminate. Sometimes are not so normal how we prepare the food, or how we handle with food hygiene, or so how we wash we hand, or how we you know, make sure that we keep the place the way we cook clean. But now also the right at the beginning, also the food they come out, the primary food system they cause the issue. Now in the sense of Africa, and then they say that the climate change where they happen, they contribute to how the system then they broke down. So for example, the biological systems, we don't say the water, they don't become polluted, the air don't become polluted, and also, you know, the soil also they become polluted. So then one of the things that will go cause a problem to how we food, you know, go safe. So the other one, of course, now the social, economic, and other development factors within they contribute to that. So then the transport system, so from transport food them from the farm to the supermarkets, from the farm to the also to the markets, the general food markets where people then they buy food. If we're not able for within them get Nayana, the UK within they call critical control point them, which means say then they put points them within the sea say, okay, now this point now, yeah, sometimes the water go get contaminated, or sometimes now this parasite, so this fly or this rat or arata go camp and it go contaminate, and so then they know say which point where the risk they get higher, then they put some control for stop them. So then now something where now Africa we not lack that strict control, and for say that the food process where, for example, the manufacturing we get good process where this block this contamination. The other one, as we don't say as well, is sanitation. So if we not get good sanitation, then again, all the sickness then, because they go through again from human waste, they go into the soil and so on, and then, you know, it go cause sickness by the food where we they eat, and not to something where we were able for really take charge and change them, because of course not to we they go collect the food directly from the the farm or the food manufacturing place. So then there's not something where we they understand. But if all these things then now yeah where I don't say when they know they control them, they know they make sure that system they in place for prevent them, then of course now make it they cause this disease then. So as we don't see, we get waterborne disease then, and we get foodborne sickness then, and also vector-borne disease then. Now how animal then they parasite and they can and contaminate the food then. But even at the UK where they get strict control, sometimes the control they go through, they work. So even now people then become sick with the food then way then they eat, because sometimes the process it malfunctions sometimes. Okay, so if we the people then go able to understand what thing we go do for able to prevent this, then we go able for no say, if we do this step, then we not go become sick, we not get sickness from the food them where we they eat. So before we move on, they go through the fact them about poor food safety and hygiene, both in the UK and Africa. So the World Health Organization don't tell we say around over 31 foodborne agent them, so the bacteria, the virus, and the parasite, then they cause sickness around the world by people then where they eat contaminated food. In Africa, the Boku people then they die through the diarrhea. So when then they eat contaminated food and then they get diarrhea, which really bad, 9 deaths per 100 people then they happen. So Boku people then they die just on simple diarrhea, and because they eat some food where contaminates with one of the agents where not be there for where contaminate the food, where not be there for dinner the food. Now the UK as well, 2.4 million cases of foodborne sickness, and they happen every year. So then a big number. So beaucoup people then every year, then they become sick with the food where then they eat, because they contaminate again with this agent then. So waiting at the symptoms and the disease where they happen when they eat contaminated food. So one of the most common one then when they eat food where contaminate, now severe vomiting. So then again, if they vomit boku one, they lost all on nutrients, where una need for balance on for make una body work fine and well. So now make it, if una get severe vomiting, and because most people then when they're sick and then get in the vomit, or they get bad run belly, or the belly they have and so on, 2-3 days then then go well. But when it becomes severe, so when they continuously the vomit, then a serious thing. So now they go to a doctor, and they go to a GP for then help for become well. The other one, a severe diarrhea. Again, if they go, they get rumbele, they go toilet boku, when they lost all the nutrients, when they lost all the water where you get now in our body for function well. So again, if they get severe one, where they stop, when I go to a GP, then I go to a doctor then, for them for help so then go able for giving us something for help recovery. So again, if them two things then combine when I get them, then also, when I not get some stuff for stop them, or some way for stop them, then again, long term, it could cause malnutrition by people then, and especially if you're an old combra, or if you're a belly woman, or if you're pikin as well, small pikin then get severe vomiting, severe diarrhea, because then get na fragile age then, or fragile time in their life, for example, belly woman then it become quite serious quickly. So it's really important see on a GP then, on a doctor. And then the other thing then as well, the contamination where they come from plastic and chemical then, in the long term, it cause some cancer then. Although beaucoup research therefore they panam, but as long as we know there's some evidence where then shows it cause some cancer, it really advisable we put the right prevention, or we do the right thing them for make sure, long term we not go catch this sickness, long term sickness, which na cancer. Okay, so now we go on how we go practice good food safety and food hygiene at the house. As I don't say, sometimes not a normal we go able for stop cross contamination per with food them, because again they come from the food system. But when they can now, waiting we go able for do for stop the sickness where we they get from eating food where we contaminate. So, first of all, I go talk about what they call the danger zone. So the danger zone, na usai the bacteria, they grow the most harmful bacteria that they grow, is not the ideal temperature and environment where the bacteria need for growth, for multiply. So if you dip at this this in between these two numbers, then of course, and from and in between these two number, then now this not the ideal time and the temperature for bacteria for just grow up at the food. So now make it they become really hazardous to on our health if we not eat them. So the temperatures now above 8 degrees Celsius and below 63 degrees Celsius. If they keep food in this environment, then it could cause sickness when they eat the food. So what do we suggest? What do I suggest now for cook food thoroughly up until 70 degrees Celsius, so above that 63 degrees Celsius. Some people then can laugh me, say, me I not get thermometer now, so that they get thermometer now. Well, okay, so I understand that day, but what you go able for do now for cut the food in the middle, say for no see say e piping hot, or if you know waiting piping hot mean, it means say for they cook they cut the food in the middle, now the steam commodity panel, then it means say it don't reach the temperature where you need for reach. Okay, so if you not see that, then it means say the bacteria go still possible for thrive there and not kill the bacteria, because it not reach that temperature where it don't kill the bacteria then. The other thing where we do now with community most time, we the defrost food them outside. We know the defrost food them not the fridge. Now, if we the defrost food them in room temperature, so now the left hand outside now on counter, then if they get the possibility say that it go reach that danger zone, and then the bacteria go begin for growth as the food that defrost in the environment, especially in Africa where the place hot. Okay, now the UK, the place not hot, so sometimes when I think say the temperature not go reach down there, but even so when I therefore take care and not say it possible that it go reach that temperature there. But in Africa where the place hot, it's really advisable that if you the defrost food, put under the fridge, because if they put under the fridge, in the fridge therefore they around from 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. So as you don't see, it there below the 8 degrees Celsius, where at the danger zone where the bacteria go grow. So if they put under the fridge, say it not go ever reach that danger zone where the bacteria go able to grow by the food. One other thing, now where we not maybe understand well now with community, now how we therefore cool food then before we put under the fridge. The reasons being is because, of course, when I don't cook the food, as I don't say, it don't reach that 70 degrees Celsius, so it don't kill all the bacteria. So before when they put under the fridge, and I therefore make sure it cool down quickly. So they say within 1 or 2 hours max, yeah, so that the food they cool down, and then when I go able to put under the fridge, so then again that danger zone when I don't the food not reach that danger zone where the bacteria go grow. Because once I don't put under the fridge, it highly likely it's hard for the bacteria to grow. So the fridge again, and therefore make sure that the fridge there between 0 and 5 degrees Celsius. Now again, if I not get thermometer, it really important mark. When I get them, if we're able to afford them, or even for just touch the fridge, when I see say, you get that cold level of coolness now the fridge where they come out, then you go able to make sense say okay now 5 degrees or 0 to 5 degrees. And then the other thing where we therefore also remember say if when I want cook food and when I done cool and done, and when I want maki last for longer, the most ideal place for put na freezer. because the freezer na minus 18 degrees now day for day for bacteria, not for growth. So if on a freezer again, they above that minus 18 degrees, then you could get chance say it could hit that danger zone and then the bacteria will grow. But in a freezer, bacteria not they able to grow because you not get the right condition for multiply and grow. So really important say if una want make the food last for longer, put on a freezer. But if una they put on a fridge, make sure that sometimes they even advise say una they put label pan. So say because we therefore eat that food there within 2 days after una don't put on a fridge. Because after that 2 days there, sometimes the bacteria they become resistant and it goes up by the food when they eat and they contaminate. So really important say, sometimes even put date if I know you go able to remember, which time I don't put this food in the fridge. So then one of the recommendation as well, where we they give. One other important thing where really important now, how we the clean we surface them and how we the clean we hand them, how we the keep to we food hygiene. So one of the most important thing where we therefore follow now for wash we hand them before, after, and before we eat food. We therefore make so before we handle them, before we eat them, we wash we hand them, because anything go past from we hand to the food, especially when I know particularly they feel well and I get sickness. So like the norovirus, that's how they transmit. For people that even if they're sick, then they go cook, they not wash their hand properly or frequently enough, and it contaminates the food. So really important say, even in between, when they touch raw food them, when I wash on a hand before when they go touch cook food them, or any vegetable or anything where somebody go and pick and they eat and then they catch the sickness, because when I not wash the hand and the bacteria don't tin up the food. And the other thing where people then sometimes they forget to do, or sometimes they not be able to tell them saying that then therefore what them now fruit and vegetable. Fruit and vegetable, especially because not on normal the bacteria sometimes we don't contaminate them, but even the chemical where then they use for grow the vegetables. So the pesticide where then they use for keep all them parasite them, then animal them where they come for contaminate the food away. So the most advisable thing for do to basically disinfect the fruit and vegetable. Now, for use salt, so 1 tablespoon of salt when they mix and with the water. So as we don't say, if you're in Africa, make sure when they boil the water before they wash the fruit them and the vegetable. But when I add salt panam or vinegar, okay, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, when they wash and thoroughly, then they go able for, again, take away any of the bacteria, then we go to panam, or any of the residue of the chemical, then within they pad the food through the manufacturing or the harvesting where they happen. Okay, so then they're really important. The other thing, we're really important, highly important now for understand waiting we therefore use, which chemical where we therefore use for clean, we surface them, and the utensil where we they use, so we knife them, we chopping board and so on. Waiting we therefore use disinfectant, because if they use normal soap, they kill the bacteria. But disinfectant and sanitizer, they kill the bacteria. But the method where we therefore use, especially when it comes to sanitizing, now the 2 methods. First, now for clean them with the sanitizer, and then after, when they clean and again left and there for some time. So the bottle go normally say leave on for let's say 5 minutes by the worktop or by the knife, the chopping board. So it could sit down properly na the utensil or the surface where when I get, so the bacteria go able to die. So that's a really important mark we follow that advice they, so that even the bacteria where you're not able to see, say when I don't take precaution and I don't clean them well. Now people then go can't holler at me when they can't say this one, then go can't holler, because we now in community, if they can't tell them say no was raw meat, no was raw chicken, then go holler, then go say, which kind of tea trick now this? So I know say even people that in America, even other people, we Jamaican brother that we Afro-American, all man we don't grow up with the concept with the idea say we therefore wash with chicken, we therefore wash with meat. Even at the UK back in the 60s and the 70s, then they tell them say we therefore wash with chicken, we therefore wash with meat before we eat them. Not a normal for the bacteria where sit down panam away with the things say go don't contaminate the food, but more on the dirty way they panam, you know. Sometimes most of them pull the chicken from, it gets dirty. So when I did for Western, because who that one eat chicken where gets some panam or gets any sort of debris where it don't panam. But beaucoup research don't show say that, especially as I don't say in the UK, that bacteria, that Campylobacter, it depa all the chicken then way with the buy at the supermarket. So if we the wasam with just way with the wasam with lemon or vinegar, when on the wasan, you get chances there that when for example, now this thing especially, it contaminates all this work surface, and even if it splash around the kitchen, it will contaminate the surface with this bacteria. So if when the wasan, so it really highly likely say that when they become sick, if when not clean the surfaces properly, or if also when I'm not able to see this bacteria or for see what I don't in up and then people then go eat them, they eat the food where don't contaminate with this virus. So then the research where then done is done show saying and then one of the cause then where they cause food sickness. So okay, I know say most people then go say, no mind this guy, but I go still wash me chicken, I go still wash me meat. So what they recommend? They recommend say if when I get one bowl where they use for clean on a chicken, then and on one clean on a chicken, again, as I don't say, the chicken, even if when they wash them with lemon or vinegar, it not they kill the bacteria, because the normal that high heat now go kill the bacteria by the food, not vinegar and lemon. Okay, but when I want to do that there, when I use one bowl, because if when I use another thing, also when they wash other thing, then contamination it will go really high. So when I use one bowl where they use them for water and day, and then once when I done, they throw away the water back again at this thing again. On a mind say that when I try for not make the water go all side, but when I did for really disinfect them with a lot of disinfectant and sanitizer, makisi done there for a long period of time. Any chopping board where you use sanitizer well, any knife when I use sanitizer well, so that it go minimize the risk of that bacteria for contaminate all the other food them where I get, or all the other surface them or utensil where I get. So it's really important mark una sanitize them well. But I don't say beaucoup research say that una not there for wasam, but if una still say that something where when I not go move pan, then this is the most practical advice we are going able for you now. Okay, the other thing we're big now, cross-contamination. So cross-contamination are one thing again where they cause foodborne sickness for people then, because we know we therefore keep especially raw food and cooked food separately. But them now we fridge them in overpack, so we just put in them all side. But then again, it cause beaucoup sickness, because when I put meat, especially at the top shelf of the fridge, and then I get when I cook food them, and I get on a vegetable where they directly underneath of the raw meat, then all them juices them where they from the meat and go for done by the cooked food and the vegetable then. So again, I saw the cross contamination they happen, and I saw sickness they come, because when they go eat that food, we don't get the bacteria, we don't tap at the food, when they go eat and when they become sick because when I not keep the food separate. So it's important if when they keep if when I get or put in the now in a fridge, again, the thing that we no need for being at the fridge. So example, let's say some drink them no need for being at the fridge, when I keep them out until when I get space for put them inside, because when I need as much air for rotating at the fridge for keep all the food them cool enough. The other thing as well, I for put meat then and at the bottom shelf, so that nothing go no bacteria go splash or go down on the food. The other thing where we therefore really take time with now the use of separate utensils, so like your knife, your chopping board, and so on, for how we prepare with food then. So
I know say beaucoup people then go say, so now you want for Maka go outside buy two things. Then okay, if I know they get two things, then for keep this practice. The most advisable thing where I go give, the most advice where I go give now for make sure every single time when I did for chop cook thing, then when I use that chopping board first, anything where raw, use and last, because then they go stop the cross-contamination. Or when I wash and first properly, disinfect and sanitize them properly before when they move on to the raw thing then, because again, some people then go take that same chopping board, then they chop, then go cut bread panam, and then I saw it, infect the person, they don't know. One other thing now, for where we they cover with food now the fridge as well, where would they put food then the fridge, it really important to we cover them, because again, now then they go prevent cross-contamination with the bacteria where they we raw food them. So it really important we cover with food them. The other thing as well, where they cause cross-contamination and the way we they pack with food them in the supermarket, or even if we go market, it's really important we keep the two things then separately, because even, for example, when we go supermarket, if you get chemical, you go put the food, even if you well pack it, you're not going to say it go transfer onto the food where they eat. But even if they go buy, meat now, the butcher then, or the how do you call it, the supermarkets where then get normal marketplace where then they sell the meat, they put them at the same bag outside the cooked food then they, or even biscuit then they, then that's so the cross contamination the happen, and then you they go eat and so you they catch sickness as well. So really important to keep any perishable food, any food where not wrapped properly, separate from any chemicals. So like you bleach, or you any chemical where they use for clean as well, they keep them separate. Okay, so lastly, I can ask the audience, because this now one of the things then where beaucoup people then in the mix up, they don't know really the difference, because again, sometimes the information where they about to use by dates and best before dates, it's not really clear. So I can ask the audience for anyone where one tell we waiting now the difference on use by dates and best before dates. If anyone did for help we. Anyone? And I'm not sure more.
Wait, let's ask the phone mute here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they came on mute themselves now if they want to answer questions.
Okay, Mina Krabo Dabo. Thanks very much, Fatima. Your KRIO accent really lovely. I don't know how you get that in the front. I don't know how shallow you come out.
Thank you.
No accent one able place as shallow at all. I don't know if now full or.
Yeah.
However, you hit the nail on the head for all of us, because it's beaucoup in the way you don't talk about where you don't have it then and day. But this use by date, I feel to say, if they say use by, they expire, that's the way they always feel. It will just lose some of probably in food value, but oh no, sorry, the use by the expire, the best before date not the expire, that's the way they always say.
Yes.
So the use by date, like for say, if not like a milk, if I don't use them by that date, I dispose of the milk. But the best before date, if not like a biscuit, I don't dispose of them, because I just feel to say that it's still eatable, but no more, we'll get the food value, the adequate food value we're supposed to get. Maybe I don't know if I'm correct or wrong, but that's how many they come.
Thank you. Fantastic. So Uncle John, a number for participate. So if you mute all man, we can ask a question then. But waiting at this man in name, sorry.
Mr. Dabo.
Mr. Dabo, thank you, Uncle Dabo. Really fantastic way for explain waiting at the difference on use by date and best before date. Yes, he absolutely correct. The use by date, now the dates where perishable food, so food where they perish, if they eat and after that date, the risk
say that the bacteria don't grow up at the food and when they become sick if when they eat them. Now, at the example we give in a really good example, because milk most time it well, but the way the people then they notice it don't well, and the way then they see the milk, then go see say it don't curdle, it don't get yellow color, or it smell, or you taste and you get that acid taste. But sometimes the food them way we get they see they see say it gets mold panan, they smell anything way wrong with the food they see any kind of color pattern way change, or even the taste it tastes just fine. So now they eat and gonna say the bacteria go still there inside Panam. So me, I be the work now food manufacturing, I be they do new product development. So one of the things then where we be there for do now waiting with the called shelf life. So before the food they go by the supermarket, we therefore do every 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 days, 3 days, we do tests for the food for see say if it's still good for it. But sometimes, let's say, depending on the food where they eat, so we therefore eat, where we therefore test pan, but we now we be there we do. But now after 1 month, because that now how long the food be they keep because of the way with the process and so on. But after 1 month, sometime after this use by date, some people even when we look the food, they see say nothing wrong with it, they taste that nothing wrong with it or whatever. But after that mark, we know they even try them because sometimes the bacteria go there. We they send them na lab. And when the result then they come back, then go tell we say this food they get listeria. But when we see and we know they're able for see say not with the say nothing there we're wrong with the food. So waiting the advice within the GIWI now, especially in the UK, that if when they see the use by date, and even though when they see say the food still okay, sometimes it's really dangerous because if when they eat them, they get sickness as well. So it really, make a judgment, but most time, if especially with meat product, then it's advisable say if the use by date say this date, when I not eat and after that date because when they risk for get sickness when they eat the food. But yes, the best before date. Now more on the food quality. So after that date day, it no means say you go get ill, because most likely the food them where then they get that best before date, now food them where no perishable. So now food them where sometimes I like tin food. So the tin food don't go through high process where they don't kill the bacteria before them put on at the tin. So now make it get long shelf life. So long the bacteria not they grow up at the food because you not get that environment, that ideal environment for grow. So the best before, after you they eat and after that date, go taste as nice as the same day where you buy them, or 2 weeks after that the time where you buy them. But when you they eat them after the date where you say best before, go sick because you not get no chance of bacteria where they no chance at all. So now make go taste just as good, but it's still fine for eat them. So use by again now perishable food that if you they eat them after that date, even if you they see say nothing wrong with that, you they take that risk say sometimes it go make you sick. But then the best before, if you they eat them even after that, now normal the quality now go deplete, not go be the same quality. So then now than the normal. Okay. So again, and I thank you. And I thank you for all man way join the session today. Now we go can ask the question, and then after Dande, I go again talk about the study where me friend the miracle the PhD student we can talk about belly woman. Then we want a suggestion on this on in study, so we go can talk about Dande as well. But thank you, and any question, please, Una feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Auntie Fatima.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. We, for when I don't join, and also I don't patient, when I don't listen to everything. We will get for say before that I go make on a know. Do I know one go on YouTube for see what we don't they do before the sessions that we don't cover before? please feel free, go to YouTube and look for Slum Health, Wεll Bɔdi Bεttεh plus Gentri. If you have contact with me on WhatsApp, I will number this. And for the one who asks questions, if you can raise your hand physically, if I see you, I will come to you. However, if you want to use the tool, which you need for do, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see them 3 dots there. If you click on the dots there, you will see this screen go appear. If you look on, it will say chat. That's if you are sending a message. Mr. Dabo already sent a message, and I will read that message later to Fatima in a bit. And also, if you want to ask question, you can press on them. You will see what I say for like is your hand up. You can raise your hand up, then we can see say yes, you ask question. Okay. Okay, now they can't unmute people and for letting people ask questions. But I will go with Mr. Dabo in question first. Okay. Mr. Dabo will ask, say, he said regarding frozen food and defrosting. He said with something inside fridge, why make for defrost them outside the fridge where you get that house? Why make it inside the fridge for defrost them? He be say the food we don't get bacteria before you put it inside the fridge. Now you make it for do one, or now we come out of the fridge, now we put on a dough for like defrost. Now the bacteria they get developed. So let you answer and be a big.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Uncle Dabo, so within I mean now bacteria, we get bacteria now all around us. We get bacteria, we get the good bacteria, we get the bad bacteria. So the good bacteria, they help for we body. So then you got, so then one of the bacteria, then we're good, they help health. But then we get the bad bacteria. So means saying food we don't contaminate. But now the environment where bacteria go able to grow, because we get bacteria all sides now around we, okay, bad bacteria where they all around it. Even now we body, we get bacteria where they grow, where they give, bad odor, now bacteria now they cause bad odor. So if we're at the left outside, that danger zone, we're at the 8 degrees Celsius and 63 degrees, the time the food that defrost, they begin to melt, it go highly likely say if at the left one outside, it go hit that danger zone time points when at the 8 degrees, 63 degrees. So now the best ideal temperature where bacteria need for getting up by the food and contaminate the food that way as well. So now make it really important to say if when the defrost food them now for put on a fridge, because when it there that 5 degrees, so that cold ambience, in the bacteria not go able to grow as well if outside now you there. So example as a bidongi, if you then at Africa as well, the place hot. So the danger zone, you go hit them more quickly than for say now the UK where it more cold. But even at the UK, it not mean say because it cold, the left and outside, go hit that danger point, that danger zone when at the 8 degrees Celsius, 63 degrees Celsius. So if you live left in a fridge, and the bacteria not go able to grow. And even if we freeze them as well, even better, because the minus 18 degrees is really, almost impossible for the bacteria to grow in a freezer. And that make most time when you buy food them and you want to keep more, then they tell you put in a freezer as soon as possible because the bacteria not go able to grow there. I hope I answer your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Auntie Fatima. Mr. Dabo, your hand up. You can unmute yourself and ask if Auntie Fatima will answer your question. You can ask again, please.
Yes, sorry, answer that's very good. But I just want to talk about because the trouble is we now not all man careful like how some man supposed to be, and they can't advise the way you don't give, so advise them way read a discipline you get for take for let person able adhere to some of them. Now, but you talk about mercury inside tuna fish and mackerel as well. So, and tuna back then, they tell we say that the best fish and for eat because you get more nutrients. So how we be able to reconcile them to here? Because if mercury, them mycotoxins, where they talk about, if you then said tuna, then definitely, even if you're a woman, somebody say before you get health, if you fashion for the eat and too much, something maybe it multiply in the system, and all man knows say mercury very deadly. So how you be able to reconcile the advice they get say, and for always to eat tuna fish, which is very good for you, because of amino acid or whatever, the oil the way they can get, and mackerel. So I want for know that one. And the plastic one, the BP18 we talk about as well. They say plastic, something the unconsumables they get from the sea can get plastic inside. How will the ordinary person go able to know that? Because until I see plastic with my eye, as far as I'm concerned, not plastic. How are I able to consume something where na plastic one or not in a plastic? That another trouble. I know sometimes maybe you don't get for going to tap to this because of time. But if you go able to provide something or lead, we shall be able to get some of them thing that you have for read for yourself for them to understand. It will be very good as well. Now the critical points you talked about now UK now. How things they able to go through then critical point then there for let them go contaminate food. Also another lead that we are going for no because the way they advise for no able look after we chef now homes with all the thing away they as checks and balances, it escape all down and it was still people that will get ill in their homes. So it's not very, they say like that, very scary for some people, to an extent that they will just give in, say, okay, what happened? What like now they say, now God maka, entry up, now God maka. Neither for worry about that because whatever way you do, it'll go through the net. Sorry if I take your time. I know some people for us. Thank you very much again, Fatima.
No problem. I got no problem, Uncle. I go try my best for answer most of the question the way you don't ask. So we go start about the tuna and the mercury where they pan. Now as we done saying at the presentation, now the food system where the food they come from because of the climate change and because of the pollution where Motaman they make per system where we live, it really hard for say now we get that power for change how the tuna they get polluted with mercury. This not something where Boku people then in the petition and the fight against government and big company where then they cause this issue then. So sometimes something then we're not there able for change and we're not go able for put on our own hand and say we go change this because sometimes not so we they cause the issue. So waiting at the recommend as we always recommend, anything where you therefore eat now in moderation. Now make with they say, and if when they eat tuna, when they consume, and even now then the recommendations say if when they eat fish, the portion when they therefore reduce them, to let's say 2 times a week or 3 times a week, 4 times a week, as long as they eat other fish them, okay. So because other fish they not get that risk the way we know. You go able to also get the omega-3 and all the fatty acids where you get by the other fish them. So it's all about making sure that when they, mix the fish them when they, it's not a normal one thing way when they eat because now then they build up the risk for catch that sickness, the cancer. The reason why we they say for belly woman for them not they eat at all, and because they cause some sort of mercury, they cause some sort of disability per small bikini then. So really important then not get that risk at all. So they're not there for consumer at all, okay. So that they cancel that risk there. So then that one aspect of the thing. So eat them in moderation. The other thing about plastic then again, Nayad and gets beaucoup product. I don't know if it's not the same thing na Salon or Africa, but Nayad and gets beaucoup plastic within the advertiser as BPA free. So beaucoup people then done, aware say, okay, if I see say BPA free, it means say, get that plastic material where they cause this type of cancer, where beaucoup research they to pinpoint saying that they cause some cancer in animal. But as I don't say, they not get beaucoup evidence on human then yet. So beaucoup people then they say, oh, anokia. But as long as they keep bottled water out of the sunlight, then it again prevents that chance for that plastic for transfer na the drink then when they drink. So that's one thing, and I hope say sometime even in Africa they go able to begin to bring BPA materials or even more sustainable materials. So when I mean sustainable, nothing where they affect the environment where we live now. So that's one, and then I think that you be asked one other question, but I know. I don't remember what you asked.
The critical control points.
Yes, so then a normal is purely based on human error and even machine error. Because most of the critical control points, for example, then they get machine where they check if metal for dumper them. So like, for example, during the process, let's say nail go for dumper the food, then they get critical control points when they say, okay, that machine, sometimes it go get chance it go malfunction and part of the machine go inside the food. So then they say, then a critical control point. So what we go do for limit that contamination. So then they put machine where they detect any sort of metal where they inside the food. Or for example, then they tell you, say, when you're in a food manufacturing place, when they for use net, then when they for use glove, them some side, they know they use glove. So now make, again, that infection that they pass through. Or sometimes not just the bacteria, the condition where them put and they're not cool and straight away. So the bacteria go able for growth. So then again, for example, the listeria or the campylobacter don't see dump on the food, and then they go out to the consumer then. And most of the time at the UK, then they record beaucoup food then for say, oh, this food then don't detect say, because they don't send an lab, then don't detect say it gets listeria or it gets campylobacter. So beaucoup people then go able for no say, okay, we know they eat that food there because they don't say it don't contaminate, but sometimes they're not able to detect that early enough and they make them ill. So now Africa, now something where we government and therefore, then don't begin, because I don't see research there, but beaucoup of we African nation, then specifically Senegal, then don't get system on how for, improve food safety and food hygiene. So, by God in power, even as alone, we go able to get that kind of system. But as long as we know, say, if we're not, now food now with the handle now us or with the cook with SF, then we know waiting with the for do for prevent any sort of sickness within the can from the food and way we they eat.
Thank you very much, Auntie Fatima. A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Rashid really talked on something on this as well, as to how we get able maintain hygiene. And we'll not forget, we will prepare food for people, general public, or they prepare food for a family. Still, that personal hygiene is very, very important. As much as we encourage government to put certain mechanisms in place for protect, the citizens, we also get from members say we get personal responsibility for ensure say we wash we hand, for example. And put it Fatima says somebody else was more where they say once you wash chicken, make sure you clean that surface day afterwards. Some of you get a bad habit and no lie. Before Mrs. years ago, at some point, I did do science. Before ASEAN, we all begin a bad habit where you go don't cut chickens on side. They wash them fine. You just rinse and normal. That rinse they not enough. You need for really wash them. Or in the best case scenario, you wash them, then even flip them if possible. If you not get a separate chopping board, instead of you go begin cut your pepper, Maggi, and whatever else you cut on top of them. Because I'm telling you, somebody they we go do them. Some of you then Saturdays. They make 2, 3, 4, 5 different soup. Now, the same place that they cut stuff, like they back they go cut the same thing there for you for making salad later. Now you absent-minded, you don't know the risk where they pose. But these are the things. I need to tell you, way somebody cannot eat food now, all of a sudden they begin feel sick. Now, so most of you understand about food poisoning. We make like a minute or so, they eat me belly, not get looking glass. So I'm very, very, very careful. But if I'm waiting for Fatima to say so, I think we like when Mr. Dabodi say, he wants information for let's read up a little bit more about it, because this thing about plastic in the food chain, I think we see a lot. I know say people they say, oh, climate change no, real, not just a myth. Other people then they really say, oh, Greenpeace and all of them people here where they make a lot, and not just a myth. But let you say that day for me, it better let you research and know than you just accept within certain people and they say. For me, if teacher tell me something at school safe, I go find my own time for do my own research for benefit myself. So if I open what I talk on side, I know which I talk about because I get evidence for backup. Yes, there is evidence. Yes, the plastic they would it away. Also, Salon, Africa in general. We the people in Africa, we do a lot of things and we not help with own marine life and environment. But also we get even outside people and they come back and they dump stuff inside it. we therefore begin take care. Because right now we get Bokutin and we will for value or for cherish. But if we not continue for look after our own environment, sooner or later, we go in the same place where the people are so they with SSSF, certain thing and the way they get now, then they afraid for eat no more like that. They go for Fatima say, tuna, for example, look at that, they say belly one for eater. You know, back then they be the eater. So the responsibility is that we all earn. But more so, we where they cook now us, whether you cook for yourself or you cook for people, take great care and responsibility for what you will do. Anybody else get any more questions for ask?
I want to ask, is that Sister Fatima?
Yes, Auntie Sarah.
Yeah. I want to ask, but because I use lots of PBA products at home, but I remember I say, would they buy water, now bottle them, where those plastic bottles, are they PBA bottles?
The thing that most likely I not think then that na PBA free bottle them.
Yeah.
Unlikely. Na PBA yeah, because the one used the most cheap material possible for cotton. So it's highly unlikely. So now make them they always recommend if you see the label na the back and tell na keep away from direct sunlight. Now make them the tell na for do than they. Because of
so it's better for drink pump water, the tap water than
no, it's not that it better for it not the sun now they create
okay
of the chemical reaction with the
plastic
more than if it did now make them they stay store in a cool dry place now make you have to limit that you want to limit that kind of transfer of the plastic and ultimately, not to say now, so you go become sick straight away because you drink water away bottled. No, and not that pump water better and pass bottled water or vice versa. But it really is not a matter no say how now they store the water and exactly keep them away from direct sunlight because then they create that chemical reaction between the water and the plastic.
Thank you very much, Auntie Fatima.
What about the tuna? Then? You get tuna that we get mercury. They're in the tin we get aluminium. Is that tuna in the tin you talk about or tuna, the fresh tuna?
So na tuna na the both side because also then they take them from now they make the mercury that they inside the fish, not so normal the processing way than they use. But generally aluminium and they react with the food way they store and the thing, they react with them because now make even most of the tin then aluminium tin then and when then they do that process of high heat for keep the food shelf life long enough so they keep for long enough so they become perishable they react so they not get evidence to show say they react with the food where then they put inside the tin.
Thank you very much.
Now quick one or more like I say me not to scientist or me not to doctor, okay? But a simple experiment you can do. Think about Kenya, Benny, then kind of thing in the where you put on a plastic. Think about it. Where you put on no more, they tell you put them, taste them. Then left on it for a while, maybe a month, 2 months or so. Where you can taste them back, they taste the same again. The same like no more tin then can. If you put something inside metals can. After a while, when you taste them, you begin to taste rust. These are just simple experiments, Una try no more. If anybody not done try before. And then a plastic bag, you wrap something back. After a while, after like a couple months or so, if you come back again and open up and try, believe you me, the taste will be the same. But Una try, I'm happy for having a good discussion with anybody offline on that. Yeah, Dr. Kamal.
No, unmute me. That's it. Thank you so much. The issue about this mercury thing, I think we all get to understand. Say if you take something moderately, you probably go benefit out of them. But if you take out too much clearly, you go suffer with them. There's no questions about that. Mercury they build up not only on the fish but on other things themselves. In fact, for beef up waiting in Fatima, they say then get this stick with them called strongyloidase. Now, that might mean nothing to anybody, but now bad sick if you catch person. Again, now from fish you get that. So you get specific fish then they where if you eat them, you can actually prone to them kind of thing. Secondly, this omega-3, what they look at, you know, if you get too much of them, it's can bug you. So everything in moderation is important. But me get two things that number for ask Fatima. And let me get you to ask them. You see, we, that's alone, they say that castle leaf. Now we sleep. The next day, now you do enjoy them. So we now, they say when you don't cook something, you know for reheat them. In all the restaurants, all the canteens and all that, if you the food can do because they not buy them, then they just go take them off through away. You understand? That issue of reheating, I think it affects everybody in this place. So it'd be nice for able for at least just throw light on that. Yeah, we just do it not the danger. Secondly, we'll talk about the cans and just know where we touch on. Like we can like that salon, you know, that condensed milk, like make butterscotch and all that. I mean, I think everybody knows that. So tell them you can left behind the container, even the evaporated milk. They are in a light myself. When you open them, you left behind the container. So someone can say, if you left behind the material will begin corrode or something, and then it can cause problems with the milk and all that. It's nice for them. We just clarify that, let people understand, because I know say we all guilty of that. So man, as he said, then can pull them, then pour them out, put in a glass, and keep in a fridge, you know. So man now can left and day. Same as if you open a container with tuna or baked beans, we're picking their leg with the chips, you know. Then thing they need for level clarify, because I think it's very important because there's a lot of confusion, a lot of, you know, uncertainty on that. So if you're able to do that, I'll be really grateful. Thank you for that.
No problem, Uncle Doc. Thank you. Yes. So the first point where Uncle Doc made about when we reheat food, then the most important thing where on they for understand that the way we store the food. So, for example, the food place them where we go buy food, because they don't keep on reheat the whole day, so they keep on the hot light for keep the food hot throughout the whole time. Now make them they then throw them away, because after a certain point it go down hit that danger zone that between 8 and 63 degrees where the bacteria go down sit down panam. So now make them they say, okay, we'll go throw them because you know it's not advisable for eat them there anymore. But if we don't put on a fridge where the bacteria growth don't, you know, you don't go the bacteria not go able to grow there. So then when on they reheat them, it makes sure that again when they reach that 70 plus mark, then you go no say the bacteria go down die panam. But then if when they take food out of the freezer, when I don't cook, and when they go reheat them, and then when they go put them back in the freezer, because again the bacteria go down grow and you go put them in because you don't there, and I saw you get that sickness. And even if when they reheat them again, you know they for reheat them more than once. If you know normal one time now they reheat them, after that when they for 3 a.m. and exactly after when they even when they keep food them outside, some people then they cook food, then they left one outside and they say yes, make it sit down there, and then you know it go better the next day. Again, then a danger zone. The longer you they keep them outside, the more now you get chance for hit that danger zone and it go get that bacteria. Even if you they put them back in a fridge after you don't sit down there the whole day, it go contaminate, it go make you sick. So it's really important say that if when they reheat food them, make sure when they don't cool and done quickly, put them in a fridge, and then when they reheat them. But after when I don't reheat them, no reheat them back, because you go get that chance say the bacteria go down multiply again because of the danger zone where you don't tin up and the bacteria go down grow there. So then at the first point. So really important. That's really important, because now then deny the cause sickness as well, because people then they know they remember, they know say, okay, even if I heat them until a certain time, the bacteria go still there by the food. So then they're really important. And then about the tinned food them, yes, some people then they left tinned food na fridge. You know, that's where also the bacteria they grow. That's one of the main things that where they cause food poisoning for people. Then every single time when I get thin, where na tinned food, when I therefore take an outside of the tin throw away the tin and put in another container. Waiting at, they always recommend as well now for put dates on when I don't open and when I therefore get rid of it. I know some people they know go do that because normally now more for business than where then go get food hygiene where they can and they can't see if they keep dates for them. So then they get that food hygiene. But it really, really, really important to say that after when I don't open and let's say Thursday, by the next couple of days, it go 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, whatever the packaging they say, if when they keep them more than that day, then the bacteria go grow up at the food because it don't come off from the environment where it go stop that bacteria. Even if they put on a fridge, it highly likely say that the bacteria go still grow in the fridge after a certain time. So now therefore make sure that they throw away the food because it will cause sickness. So yeah, thank you, Uncle Doc, where you bring down because down there now one of the things then where beaucoup people then now with community then they do we know really understand that it cause sickness when we consume the food there, where we don't take out of the packaging or we keep under the packaging left under the fridge. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Fatima. One of the points that we Uncle Doc asked, we say touch on. Now the bit about the first food and stuff. Normally, I know say we community, most of wood in nobody not get chance, that don't get back home. They're very lucky, very fortunate. They need to cook every day. When I know. So maybe advice is that's why we want to be the practice and that's why I don't see most of my friends that's what they do. I'm wearing. Get them small bowls. Put the portion inside it. So you don't need for defrost a whole bowl of food. You cannot say some of food on Saturday they get chance for cook or Sunday. They also cook for the rest of the week. So myself, in fact, I get party when I 1 month they cook for.
Yeah.
Like the one thing I was, they get for go, everybody get for go hustle. I understand that. But me not to scientists, I don't say I'm a scientist because I do have GCSEs and A-levels. No. All I can say is based on experience, new advice would be say put on a smaller bowl. So there's small takeaway bowls. Put the portion the way you feel say you go able to eat per day. So once you want mom, you eat them, that's it. If you get visitor, put 2 bowls. You want mom, you eat them, that's it. Ideally, once you don't want mom once, try for eat and done. If you never eat and done, I don't like waste food myself, but it is what it is. It better lot to eat that food than I can get sick. We get somebody that we panel, Dr. Rashid. I don't say it is shame maybe or maybe this society will be able to probably see video because in our biomedical scientists, it be able to give you a lot more advice when it comes to around this. I know say we don't run out of time, but if I'm glad if you should be able to come
that's true.
And say something around this subject. And also, Mr. Dabo, one of the ways for Mr. Rashid for come on for say something. You say about the advice about outside and the worst stuff. Yes, definitely. Auntie Fatima advice say not for wasam na sink because we wasam na sink you expose yourself to more stuff because we wasam na sink you get for try make sure see all the sink, the surface around the sink and even the splashback you get for wash all day with soap and sample. So ideally, wasam inside bowl is a lot easier. Yes, Auntie Fatima.
Sorry, but the main thing where people therefore take from that they really advisable for no wasam at all. That's what the most thing where we differ understand because now the research don't show saying but most of the cross-contamination they happen. But if people then, because I know saying our community, people then will say, no, we don't do them for years now, we generation, we therefore was and it for no was chicken, no was meat then. But yes, from the advice where I give, if I know one for follow down the best advice where we therefore give now for wash on our surfaces thoroughly and when I just use bowl and mind of the back when the water they just splash everywhere. So now when I make sure on that. But yes, so thank you, Uncle John, just to pinpoint down there. Yeah. Yes,
unfortunately, they are not seeing Mr. Rashid again. I think you don't log back out. If we have been there about a month or so ago, Mr. Rashid been doing something about hygiene and safety and the disease around personal hygiene and stuff. So all I've been there, I don't benefit. However, if you've not been there I will urge you, go on YouTube, look on that session. It will explain to you some of the NTR with Fatima. So you will see Mr. Rashid, we don't cover some of them. It will buttress some of the points that Fatima don't make. If I'm thank you, we don't done for today. We don't reach time. Unless anybody else gets quick question we will ask, then we go round up for today. I don't see anybody hand it up. Okay, so the people who are going at the panel now from the Wεll Bɔdi Bεttεh Gentri show, the Wεll Bɔdi Bεttεh Gentri show, we get Anti-Isata, we get Dr. Ture, Dr. Bell, and Dr. Mohammed Kamara, we all know. Any of you want to say any last word for people and before I get to Fatima lay round up? Okay, Dr. Bell say everything is fine. Dr. Kamara?
Yeah, she's done a tremendous job, and thank you for that. As I say, this is an eye-opener for we all. Really good for everybody here, because the practice that we really need for change. So that's just small thing that we're going to make people embody well. You know what I mean? Because the thing the way you do, if you not be no bottom, then of course it will cause you problem. But now that you know, you can prevent that. And thank you so much to Fatima.
No problem, Uncle Dot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Before them and two other waiting until Fatima don't say, and they can't get Fatima the last word for a send we home. Then maybe I go poke fun at somebody today before. So everybody, when I turn on the camera, so I go pick somebody for poke fun at today. I think Fatima, what are your last word?
Yes, I'll just be one talk about the miracle, the PhD student.
Yes,
So I go share I go able to share the screen quickly. It just could take two seconds.
Okay, well, while you share that, I'll just prompt Dr. Ture. I will count to you in a bit because I understand that he presents for me next week. Dr. Ture, not run away. So I'll give a few seconds, let you prime people for waiting and for expect next week. And Fatima, where you ready, man?
Okay, so I not get control for share the screen. I just want
sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Enabler.
Okay, so all the women then na the UK, okay, we don't get belay or then don't give back na the UK. Please help we own sister Miracle, the PhD student. He get study about belly woman then na the UK, but this not a belly woman the night they look for yet, but no more the ideas on waiting they for look for waiting then one for research, because at the end of the day now Una go able for directing study because now Una they go through these experiences. So please, Mark, we help with SF for understand how we then go able for help because again we know say Boku women then they die during childbirth in the UK and also in salon. So which research way we go able for do now, yeah, you go able for also help people then back home. So please, if Una want get in touch, please get in touch with the email of we community in emails Uncle John na slogumhealth@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So, yes. When I contact that way, or even if when I want to send message to the group where we get, or any of the Slogum group chat, then please when I message me and I go pass the details on, and when I go able to give some suggestions. But that's all. When I thank you for the time we get today, and I hope stay when I land Bokutin, then we when I go able to put into practice. And but thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Largest box gets with Auntie Fatima. They say, "Dear me family, the woman them. The problem is with the Black community. There's a lot of research where they happen. Where most of the time it can focus around the white counterparts. However, as we understand, we are slightly different in some ways. So for them go able to provide the right support. For we own community, we need for dedicate that time. We need for come forward and contribute to the kind of research. And that's the only way how they will understand which kind of support, which are the issues they want to go through, and which kind of support we they will able to give for make your own life better. So for me, I will encourage anybody where they in a position for help out, please get in touch. Let you help. You might say maybe that you last weekend. What about you picking? You got picking them. They all go need that support. So not to wait for cost you anything, and not to wait they go, they will go harm you or whatever. Most of the time, some of the research is about questions about studying, which exactly they go through. But if you want to understand more, get in touch. Let the person with the leader, they will talk to you. And maybe it could be done camp one power show before. So they patch the KRIO, but also they talk the Nigerian pidgin. So una be able to understand myself. Me for me, I will encourage anybody where they in that position, do get in touch. When I have a discussion, ask any question you are asked before you give consent. Make sure so you understand what's in the whole thing there about how they will therefore use the information, or the information will be gathered for use them, which are the benefits and stuff like that. Then you will make that informed decision now for your, or if you can, please do so. Dr. Ture, over to you, sir. What do you expect next week?
Okay, so Fambulen, thank you for listening to this program. Fatima, thank you so much, for such a very good presentation.
Thank you, good.
We don't learn really a lot. We on community, we can say jams not the kill African. So wait till you don't tell me so. If we fall around these jams, no go kill any African. Okay. So for next week, could they talk about headache? If you get food poison again, you go get headache. So let me just tell you that. Anything can cause headache. A very large topic. We maybe not able to cover all, but just maybe the key points, the key type of headaches that we'll cover, and the key things that we go look out for. We get headache plus dentin, and they go make you worry for go see your doctor, or you go worry for scan, or you're not told now get headache, go need scan, and of course we'll touch a little bit on treatment if needed, but we're not there now for treat people. We just they give advice. So we go talk a bit on the different things, of headache where they look out for. We go worry, we go make you worry, go make you go see doctor, or we go make you say, okay, I know this one, I don't worry myself, like just take paracetamol or whatever it is, So quite a few things we'll get for cover. Because it's so large, we maybe go get for split time, but we'll just talk the more important things that we go benefit with. I hope we're not tuning next on the 3rd in 2 weeks' time for
in 2 weeks,
Monday.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Okay.
So if I'm Dr. Toge going to talk about a headache in 2 weeks. I know some of I know we thinking do headache, but I know we'll touch on until I go wait till in 2 weeks. But me to run pepper. Not to headache make I get some. I will explain to you in 2 weeks what make I get to low. Thank you very much for all attention. Thank you very much for all attention. I will see you in 2 weeks. When I remember, Wεll Bɔdi Bεttεh pass Gentri. When I look after myself, I will see you again in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Fatima. That was brilliant.